In miscarriage, it can be
Threatened.
threatened miscarriage, or what is the other thing?
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous. Then it can be a missed miscarriage. It can be a complete miscarriage. It can be an incomplete miscarriage. Okay. Yeah. So bleeding can be like this. In ectopic, why you should have bleeding?
Rupture of tube.
Tube ruptures doesn't cause bleeding. Tube ruptures will cause syncopal attack and intra-abdominal bleeding features. Tube rupture will not cause bleeding. What is the cause for bleeding? Means the pregnancy, the gestational sac has occupied the place of tube, and there will be some HCG reactions, means the hormonal reaction in the endometrium, in the decidua. So that decidua will be shedding because of the inadequate support, right? So that is a cause for bleeding in ectopic pregnancy. Then, what are the other things where we have some complications we see in pregnancy? Another one is hyperemesis gravidarum. You know what is hyperemesis gravidarum?
Increased vomiting.
Yeah. Normally, there can be vomiting, which will not affect the general condition of the patient. Once it is, profuse vomiting in the early trimester, which affects the general condition of the patient, or it warrants admission, can be hyperemesis gravidarum. What are the common causes for hyperemesis gravidarum? Can anyone say what is the common causes for hyperemesis gravidarum?
Sriram is back, ma'am.
Yeah. What is the common causes for hyperemesis gravidarum? Kaushalya. What are the common causes for hyperemesis gravidarum? Or is Lakshmi? What are the common causes for?
Ma'am?
What are the common causes for hyperemesis gravidarum?
It's because of raised HCG.
Yeah, the reason behind for hyperemesis is raised HCG. Which are the conditions where you get raised HCG?
High body weight, obese mother.
No, not obese.
Multiple
HCG.
pregnancies.
Molar
Yes.
pregnancy.
Multiple pregnancy, molar pregnancy. Yeah, good. So sometimes even in a singleton pregnancy, and most commonly it occurs in a primigravida than in a multigravida. Yeah. So how will the patient presence when there is hyperemesis gravida?
Dehydrated, ma'am.
Dehydrated, electrolyte imbalance.
Weight loss.
Rapid breathing.
Yeah, like it will be
Respiratory condition.
most commonly it will be dehydration, electrolyte imbalance with ketoacidosis. Features like starvation ketoacidosis. You know, starvation ketoacidosis, the patient will not have taken anything. He wouldn't have taken anything, and there'll be acetone present in the urine. Okay, how will you manage this hyperemesis patient? How will you manage this hyperemesis patient?
Antiemetics, ma'am.
Yeah, first you need to hydrate the patient. That is only very important. Hydrate the patient, and then check for all the vitals, and get your electrolytes results. And if electrolytes is normal, we are safe. Okay. And then you can give her antiemetic. And the last thing which you give is to control the vomiting is we can even give steroids. You know, we can give steroids. Finally, if the vomiting doesn't settle. Yeah.
Yes,
Then
ma'am.
we usually give a supplement of vitamin B1, that is your thiamine 100 milligram. Okay, the patient can go in for even acid base imbalance. Okay,
Why vitamin B1, ma'am?
thiamine has got a role of controlling the vomiting induced due to HCG. So we can always supplement thiamine. Okay, and even the steroids. Okay, steroids, because it has got, what is the effect of steroids? Why do we give steroids? Why do we give steroids?
Cortisol effect can be reduced, ma'am. The axis activity can be reduced.
How? How does it get reduced?
Suppression, ma'am, of the pituitary.
Hypothalamo pituitary adrenal axis.
HPO axis. HPO axis. Okay. So, or else, if nothing is getting settled and patient general conditions is not improving, we can even go for termination of pregnancy. Okay. So, how much you give steroids? 100 milligram of hydrocortisone. Okay. If you want to give IV, it's hydrocortisone 100 milligram in an infusion, or if you want to give an oral, you can give prednisolone. Okay. What are the common antiemetic drugs we use during hyperemesis? You can use
Promethazine.
Phenergan we can use, and metoclopramide we can use, or even and ondansetron also we can use. Okay. Then yeah, suppose you're going to, it is I mean, if the patient is not getting admitted and the hyperemesis is not very severe, but anyway patient wants some treatment, you can advise her with small frequent diets. Okay, instead of having three times meal, she can have 5 to 6 times with a small quantity. Okay, so these are the treatment part. Mainly you have to hydrate the patient if you're admitting the patient. Yes. Then comes your miscarriage. What are the causes for miscarriage, ma? What are the?
Maybe structural causes.
We can divide miscarriage as first trimester and second trimester. First trimester, commonly it is your genetic and endocrine, where most of the time the genetic cause is not diagnosed. Okay. Then your endocrine causes, and third is your immunological, and fourth is your unexplained. Okay. What are the general genetic factor which is responsible for this miscarriage? What are the genetic factors which are responsible for the miscarriage?
Aneuploidy, ma'am?
Yeah, like aneuploidia or autosomal trisomy is the most common genetic factor which is responsible for the miscarriage. Commonly, this autosomal trisomy will present as missed abortion. You know what is missed abortion?
The
Like,
pregnancy is never diagnosed, but then.
no, it is missed abortion is the pregnancy. That is chemical pregnancy, biochemical pregnancy.
No cardiac activity.
Yeah, what happened? The patient will give a will come with a history of that she has already taken a scan during 6 to 7 weeks, where the fetal heart was viable, the pregnancy was viable, and she'll usually present between the 9 to 12 weeks with complaints of either a spotting PV or a repeat scan, 11 to 12 week scan saying that the fetus has not grown or the fetal cardiac activity is absent. So usually the common cause for miscarriage is your genetic cause is your autosomal trisomy. Okay. And what is the common endocrine causes? What is the common endocrine causes? It is your luteal phase defects or diabetes, hypothyroid, hyper or hyper, both. And then diabetic. What is luteal phase defect?
Progesterone's not produced, no?
Inadequate, not produced. Inadequate progesterones are produced. Then your where is the progesterone produced? It is produced from the corpus luteum. So that only helps in the implantation and things. So if the progesterone production is inadequate, it will not get implanted properly and it will end up with your miscarriage. Then your thyroid abnormalities. Then your diabetic status. If the HbA1c is, what is the normal HbA1c level? What is the normal?
More than 6 or 7.
Less.
That is abnormal.
Oh, sorry, less than.
Less than 6 is a normal thing.
5.4.
Yeah, we keep it around 6 up to 6. Okay, so less than that is normal. If this HbA1c level is going to be abnormal, chances of miscarriage is more. Then this is the usually first trimester. Second trimester causes mainly what someone told, it is your anatomical abnormalities. What are the common anatomical abnormalities?
Fibroids.
No, I told you anatomical abnormality. What is fibroid? Fibroid is not an anatomical abnormality. Normally we have fibroid. No. I'm asking you.
Congenital malformation of
Yes. Well, most common is your cervical incompetence, which can be congenital or acquired, and then your Mullerian defects. Mullerian defects can be. So most common is your septate and then biconvate uterus. And the third one is uterine synechia. These are the anatomical abnormalities. Okay. Then your medical disorders of mother. It can also cause second trimester abortions. Okay. So the most common complaint in how do the patient present in a case of miscarriages? They will have bleeding, pain, and when you do a pervaginal examination or pelvic examination, if suppose if the os is closed, but till this blood-stained examination fingers have blood stain, you can come to a diagnosis of either threatened abortion, incomplete abortion, complete abortion, or missed abortion. Why? When do you call it as threatened abortion? Do an ultrasound. Fetus is viable, and then the os is also closed. Means she will continue pregnancy, provided she should be given a supplement of progesterone. Okay, that is threatened. In a case of incomplete abortion, there will be no fetal cardiac activity, and then the gestational sac will not occupy the usual place of fundus. It will be somewhere in the middle of the uterus or in the cervix in the process of expulsion. Or instead of a spotting or bleeding, you can have the products itself. Some parts of the products will be felt in the vagina. Whereas in a case of complete abortion, patient will give a history of pregnancy positive and then passing clots. And then now when you see totally the uterine cavity is empty and the os is also closed. Incomplete abortion, the os will be open and there will be products will be felt in the vagina. Those are the causes where you have pain and bleeding when the patient presents with abortions. What is inevitable abortion? It will be something like same. Internal os will be having products of conception where they cannot continue pregnancy further. It will be definitely, it has to be terminated. What is medical septic abortion? What is septic abortion?
Abortion associated with any kind of infection of the uterus.
Like an abortion where
the precautions weren't taken.
No, the abortion where the uterine and the conceptus, that is its contents, it's all infected and it shows evidence of infection like your temperature like offensive purulent discharge and lower abdominal pain and tenderness. You should differentiate. The other abortions they will have complaint of pain, but it will not be tender. Whereas in a case of septic abortion, the patient will have tenderness. Okay. So this is the septic abortion. What are the common causes of septic abortion? Or else, what are the common organisms where the septic abortions are caused?
Torch infection.
No.
Staph,
No. It's commonly anaerobes.
And
It's commonly anaerobes. Okay.
Clostridium.
Yeah, anaerobes. It can be bacteroids or Clostridium welchii, or it can be, it's commonly anaerobes. If it's going to be aerobe, it's going to be E. coli, Klebsiella, and things like that. But it's very, very common with the anaerobic infections. Or sometimes it will be both mixed infections. Okay. How do you treat a case of septic abortion?
completely remove all the products of conception.
You need to first stabilize the patient with antibiotic hydrations, and then completely empty the uterus. Okay. So this is how you treat the and then you have to give them analgesic, antibiotics, hydrations, and then if necessary you have to treat for prophylaxis, anti-gas gangrene, serum and things like that you need to give. How will the patient present with septic abortion? How will the patient present with a septic abortion? When you do a PV, it will be, it will have a very softened cervix. Sometimes it will present as pelvic abscess, where you put a culdocentesis in the POD. POD means pouch of Douglas. You put a needle, that is called culdocentesis. There will be a frank pus coming out. In which case, if this there's clinical signs of pelvic abscess. Hello. Yeah, I'm
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. When there's clinical features suggestive of pelvic abscess, we have to
Do cultosynthesis.
yeah. Culdocentesis, when there's clinical fear, what is culdocentesis? You put a needle in the pouch of Douglas. Where is the pouch of Douglas?
It's just behind the posterior fornix,
It's between the uterus and the rectum. Uterus and the, vagina and the rectum. So when you put a needle on this, you're going to get a frank pus. It says that the pelvic abscess is there, in which case we have to go for a laparotomy under antibiotic coverage. Okay. Before closing the abdomen during laparotomy, we need to keep a drain and close, because further collection of pus will be coming out through the drain. Okay. Then your ectopic pregnancy. What is ectopic pregnancy, ma?
Implantation of the
Implantation outside the uterus. Okay. It can be either in the tube, it can be either in the ovary, it can be either in the abdomen or in the where else? Where else?
corner.
Huh? Yeah, where else?
Fallopian tube. Then
Lower segment, ma'am, of the
That is uterus. So it can be in the tubular, it can be in the ampulla, isthmus, infundibula, or interstitial, it can be ovary or abdominal. Abdominal, it can be primary or secondary abdominal pregnancies. And then it can be cervical also. Within the uterus also, without fundus, other place the implantation is going to be, it will be ectopic, like your cervical, angular, cornual, cesarean scar pregnancy. So You have to know this because in olden days these were not classified under ectopic. Now it has been classified under ectopic. Normal implantation occurs in which part of the uterus?
Fundus.
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 Suppose if it's going to occur in the cervical, cervical means cervix, angula means where?
Cornea, no, mother.
Cornua, angular and cesarean scar. All these are considered as ectopic pregnancy. How do we diagnose ectopic pregnancy? How will the patient present? There will be there will be a urine pregnancy test positive, but we will not be able to find out the gestational sac in the uterine cavity. So then, how long we will wait to, if the urine pregnancy test is positive and the beta HCG is 1000, but still they are not able to visualize the gestational sac. How long will you wait? There is a demarcation of serum beta HCG of 1500, where you need to definitely see a gestational sac either in the uterus or in the outside the or in the any site. You get me, girls? Like if you're going to have a urine pregnancy test positive and ultrasound showing no gestational sac, you move into serum beta HCG. If the serum beta HCG is 1000, okay, you have to wait and repeat after 2-3 days. And if suppose the serum beta HCG is more than 1500, you have to definitely see a sac either in the uterus or outside the uterus. You understand? You got my point?
Yes, ma'am.
What? Repeat what I'm telling.
Beta HCG levels, we have to first assess it, and
Ah.
if in case it's lesser than 1500, we have to repeat it 2 to 3 days later. And if then it is above 1500, then we can find the sac either inside the uterus or anywhere else.
Yeah. Again, in an ultrasound, to see a gestational sac inside the uterus, it's easy, but we can miss a sac outside the uterus because of the imaging modality. So suppose we are not able to see a sac in the uterus, we can even go up to MRI. With the beta HCG of 1500, we are not able to see a sac. We can do an MRI also. Okay. So how will you manage a case of ectopic pregnancy?
Salpingectomy. Oh.
No, why you are going directly there? You have two things, ruptured and unruptured. Okay. Ruptured, you have to do surgery only. What is the treatment for unruptured pregnancy?
Methotrexate.
That is called medical management of pregnancy. What are the criteria for medical management of ectopic pregnancy?
Studyford criteria and Spiegelberg criteria.
Yeah?
Spiegelberg criteria and Studyford criteria.
Yeah, you tell me what is the, indications where you can give methotrexate.
Patient should be stable.
Hemodynamically stable. Yes. Then what else? Beta HCG level should be less than 500. Yeah. Less than 5000. Sorry. Less than 5000. Then what are the which all patient you will subject to medical management of ectopic? The cardiac activity should not be visible. Okay. If the cardiac activity has come, you can't put her on medical management. Means she should be less than 6 weeks. What should be the size of the sac? Size of the sac should be less than 4 centimeter. These are the patients where you put them on medical management of ectopic. What is that you give? Methotrexate, how much you give? How much you give, ma? Beta HCG? Methotrexate? What is the dose of methotrexate we give for medical management of ectopic?
50
milligrams.
That is roughly 50. That is roughly 50, but it's 1 milligram per kg. Okay. So 50 milligram you give. How do you monitor the patient? You need to monitor the patient with
Measure serum beta HCG.
clinical assessment, serum beta HCG, and ultrasound size of the sac. These are the things we have to monitor. When do you start monitoring? When do you start monitoring? You monitor on day 4 and day 7. Clinical assessment daily. Why do you want to monitor clinical assessment daily? Why do you want to
If there's
assess?
complications starting.
Yeah, suppose we are going to give her a methotrexate. It doesn't mean that she's totally. Within 2-3 days of methotrexate, she's totally safe. Sometimes this unruptured ectopic can go in for rupture. So to monitor for the signs and symptoms of rupture, you have to do a clinical assessment daily, and then day 4 and day 7 serum beta HCG and ultrasound size of the sac you need to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Then again for ruptured ectopic, we will do usually self-injection. Yeah. Then if suppose the patient is Rh negative, we have to give her the anti-D. How much anti-D we give? How much anti-D? What is anti-D? Everyone know? Rh negative pregnancy, we give anti-D. Everyone know that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. How much? What is the dose? Normally we give after delivery. It is 300 micrograms. Whereas in pregnancy early pregnancy, we give them either 50 or 150 micrograms. Okay. So if suppose any abortion or an ectopic patient who is Rh negative, you have to give them after the procedure, after the termination of pregnancy, we have to give them a injection of anti-D 150 micrograms IM in the deltoid region. Okay. That Spiegelberg's criteria is only for to diagnose ovarian pregnancy. This is not that is not for your medical management of ectopic. Someone was telling Spiegelberg, right? Who is that? What is Spiegelberg criteria? What is Spiegelberg criteria? Spiegelberg criteria is to diagnose ovarian pregnancy. What are the criteria? Yes. The tube on the affected site should be intact, and that gestational sac should occupy the position of the ovary, and the sac to be connected to the uterus through the ovarian ligament. What is ovarian ligament? Can anyone explain what is ovarian ligament?
It connects the ovary to angle of the uterus.
It's a connection between ovary and the uterus, right? Very good. So the gestational sac should be connected to the uterus by ovarian ligament. And in the histopathological examination of the tissue should have ovarian tissue. You understood?
Yes.
We will be sending that tube or the ectopic occupying area. That tissue should have the ovarian tissue in that. That is called Spiegelberg's criteria to diagnose ovarian pregnancy. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am,
What is? Yeah. Tell me.
The anti-D dosage in early pregnancy is 50 to 150 microgram, ma'am.
Yeah, it can be 50 to 150 microgram, but what is the problem is our government supply has only 300 micrograms. So if we put 300 microgram, it is no harm in that. But the patient should have got a dose of injection. It is ideally 50 to 150 micrograms. In term pregnancy, it's 300. What is heterotropic pregnancy?
Heterotropic.
It is a pregnancy where it will be a one uterine pregnancy and one ectopic pregnancy. It is more common following these ART procedures. What is ART? Artificial reproductive techniques. Okay, so it is a pregnancy where it will be the fetus will be one sac in the uterus and one sac in the ectopic site. That's called heterotropic pregnancy. Okay, again you can give medical management methotrexate for heterotropic pregnancy. What do you do for cesarean scar pregnancy? What do you do for cesarean scar pregnancy?
VBAC.
VBAC. Scar pregnancy cannot go more than 8 to 10 weeks. It will cause
surgical removal.
Yeah, it is mainly surgical treatment. We can give a try of methotrexate, but surgical treatment is the main thing. You can even do like you can either go for laparoscopy or hysteroscopic method or a laparotomy. Okay, I'm audible? Yeah?
Yes,
Am I audible? Yeah. Okay. Then, so that is the treatment for cesarean scar pregnancy. Again, cervical pregnancy also. In cesarean scar pregnancy, after opening up, we can ligate the uterine artery both sides and then remove the gestational sac at the site of scar, because or else it will go in for a torrential bleed and we may end up with a hysterectomy. Okay, so ideally we will do bilateral uterine artery ligation and then remove the gestation sac over the scar, cesarean scar. How do you manage a cervical pregnancy? A cervical pregnancy. Yeah?
Methotrexate.
Methotrexate and surgical. Suppose like we can inject methotrexate locally or surgical. But surgical also we have to ligate the uterine artery, internal iliac artery and then do a curette. Or else we can do one thing, we can do a uterine artery embolization and then do a curette where you will not have bleeding. Or else the bleeding will be so severe that we have to remove the uterus for the patient. Cornwall pregnancy, how do you manage? What is the ultrasound criteria for Cornwall pregnancy? You know what is Cornwall pregnancy? In the junction of the uterus and the tube, there will be pregnancy. Okay. How do you diagnose Cornwall pregnancy?
Ultrasound.
Ultrasound, what is that you see?
ovarian ligament is in the front and
No. Cornwall pregnancy. You will see the gestation sac in the intestinal portion of the tube, not in the fundus. It will be in the interstitial portion, means it will be in one corner of the uterus. Okay. Then you can, sometimes the gestational sac will be mobile and uterus will be, uterine tissue imaging will be separate from the gestation sac. Then you can have, sometimes you can even see the gestational sac occupying the position of the myometrium instead of endometrial cavity. Okay. So the presence of, there will be vascular pedicle, means if you put a color Doppler, there will be a ring of, a red ring appearance over the gestation sac. Mainly the gestation sac will be in one corner of the uterus close to the tubes. But tubes are not better imaged during the ultrasound. But it will not be in the position of the endometrium, but it will be in the myometrium, it will be very close to the myometrium. Okay. So this is how you diagnose Cornwall pregnancy. Cornwall pregnancy, it is only the surgical management. We don't give them medical management. Usually Cornwall, any ectopic will present with acute catastrophe before 12th week. But Cornwall pregnancy, it will go for a longer period and then very lately only it will have the, it will present with acute event. Yeah. What else? How many of you all are present? Sharath.
Yes, ma'am. Hello. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the registrar want.
Yes, ma'am. I will send the attendance.
No, you're not supposed to send. Wait. Ask no one to leave. I will just take a photocopy of the attendance. Okay. You
Ma'am,
ask them
one
not to
minute.
leave. Ah,
Ma'am, I
what
have
else?
already noted down the absentees. Shall I tell to you, ma'am, now?
One
I will
second,
send
I
it.
need, no, our director wants absentees, I mean, a photocopy of the present. One second, I will take a screenshot and after that you can leave, right?
Ma'am, it
Just
will
hold on.
take a lot of screenshots, ma'am, more than 10, I think.
Yeah, but then director wants it.
Okay, ma'am. No
Just
issues.
stay, don't go. Yeah,
Okay,
one
okay,
second.
ma'am. No issues.